once again, I'd like to explore the relationship of the GOP and the church and how that relationship, in my estimation, is very uncomfortable. Because when I think about the GOP, I don't think about them as a grand old party. I think about them as RGOP, racist grand old party. Because that's what they, truly represent today. Is obvious to anyone that has any common sense, who has any inclination to want to look into the face of the truth. The stuff that they're allowing to happen and basically, encouraging to happen, lets me know that their connection with the church and the silence of the church and the ministers that I hear is not coming out and denouncing this stuff, as they, so strongly wanted Obama to announce people that he had met in his lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Now that they have their different associations, whether they're good, bad, or ugly, no one is to criticize them. But I find that the church is liking, not just in criticizing, but denouncing and saying wrong is wrong and right is right. And the GOP is a party that has went to the wrong side of reality, to the wrong side of conscience, to the wrong side of being the men that people elected you to be, to represent them and to represent the interests of this country. And the church is part and parcel with that. They should be on the front line as spiritual men of God in doing that. Men like T.D. Jakes should not have been endorsing men like George W. Bush just because he said he was a Christian. It should have been some empirical evidence that he was a Christian. It should have been known without a doubt by the conduct of his life and by the evidence that you have gotten that he was who he was before you endorsed him like you did. And obviously the man is not saved. And I'm wondering how so many GOP people, the right-wing people, Republican people, and can be saved and yet be racist. How can the two walk hand in hand? And how can we say that that's not extreme? I find racism extreme as much as we find a lot of the Islamic religions extreme in their actions toward Americans and people around the world. Some stuff that we deem extreme is just that. That's an extreme action when you blowing up buildings and doing that and destroying people. That's definitely an extreme action, but it's just an extreme action when you deny people health care. When you say you're a Christian and you're a racist, when you can pat a man on the back and grin in his face and shake his hand, and all the time you are calculating just how far you're going to stick that knife in his back when the opportunity presents itself. This is the conduct of people today. Now, they are right in the church, and our pastors are silent on that. They say they're men of prayer. Just like I have my mother-in-law in my house, and I thank God for that I'm able to have her here and to help care for her. But that her pastor has never been here after 35 years of tithe paying and offering giving and great service to that church and to that pastor and to his vision. He has never visited her. And these are the men that say that they are praying and know God, that will deny you basic needs, that say if you are poor, it's your own fault. Sometimes stuff is just not your fault. It's circumstances and situations that come in like a flood and will overwhelm you, because I don't care how intelligent you think you are and how intelligent you might be and how accomplished you might be in your profession and in your life. Situations and circumstances can come in and dismantle that in nothing flat, make it all null and void. And then you would be in the same situation. We should not be so quick to judge when we have not walked in another man's shoes. And I find it amazing how that so many people have so developed such a sense of psychology in their life. They are such intelligent people that they can determine what makes you a failure and what makes you a success. When you can't determine that for me, just because you're in the GOP or in the Democratic Party. They are all failing. They're all playing a game. The GOP and the Democrats. Let me mention that, so won't nobody misconstrue that I'm on one side or the other. The only side I'm on is on the side of right. And right now, they are all a bunch of thespians putting on this theatrical play up in Washington and across the country with these town hall meetings in order to deny people basic care in a country as wealthy as ours. And the church is silent on it. And the church and the GOP is doing everything it can because it's in the pocket of the rich corporations, and so they are looking out for the interests of the corporation. You know, politicians like Cantor and those other Republicans that were standing up and saying we need to slow down. Then nobody said slow down before you went into Iraq. Then nobody said slow down before you spend billions of dollars each month, you know, to go into a country that you really had no business going into. Even though you might not like a nation or like the people of a nation, that doesn't give you the right to go in there and just invade them, which we did under false pretenses. Nobody's went in and invaded Darfur and taken care of that situation. Since we're so benevolent, since we're so righteous in this country, we're a holy nation, as people call it. We're a nation that knows God and established on the principles of God. That's all well and fine to be established on the principle of you, but if you don't live the principle out, and if you don't establish that from day in and day out, what good is it to be? You can be born a king and become a pauper because of your attitude or because of the way you conduct yourself. In the United States, I don't care under what premise they were established, or they said they were established, you know, by the founding fathers. Now, they're not my founding fathers because they own my fathers. But they suppose they're the founding fathers of this country, and these men are supposed to be men of religion and knew God, yet they own men and slaves. The same men that said we all are created equal, but they own men and subjugated them to be under their feet. And that same attitude is pervasive right now in the GOP party, and even in some in the Democratic Party, those who call themselves blue dog Democrats, who have a tendency to vote along the other side of the aisle on certain political issues. Well, that's well and fine, as long as that's right, you know what I'm saying? But too much of this is people that's using an opportunity, just like Joe Wilson did, to get money, to garner votes from rednecks and racists who love when we disrespect those who differ from us. And if you are like that in this country and call yourself a Christian, I think you just should consider more prayer. Because some things just shouldn't be, and some things you need to get some more understanding on. We all do. And if you hate people and you say you're a Christian, then you like understanding. Because hate and Christianity and Christ and the church and love and hate can't walk in hand in hand. One must be dominant. One must overwhelm the other. And I said love can do this, you know what I'm saying, if we're willing to make the sacrifices in our life to look beyond ourselves, we can find it in our conscience, you know what I'm saying, to do the right thing. And I'm going to continue with this thing, and hopefully we'll get some responses back on it, and we'll get some more feedback, and we'll get some more understanding as people, you know, give us input and knowledge. So hang in there. Keep praying, keep thinking, keep considering, keep meditating, and as long as you can, stay in peace. But some things, you know, you got to war for, you got to fight for, but let it be the right fight. Take care.
Twitter us at MadWest TV.